Before start this video, please subscribe my channel and click on bell icon. Thanks.
Although a lot of songs are nothing but mindless, generic beats meant to make you want to drop it like it's hot, some of them do come with interesting backstories. And in this list, we are going to take a look at 10 of them. Related, Top 10 Backstories for Popular Idioms. 10 Ticket to Ride. The Beatles. Ticket to Ride. By the time Ticket to Ride was released in 1965, the Beatles were firmly established as one of the biggest acts in music history. But as to the meaning behind the song itself, it is either an innocent or a not-so-innocent explanation, depending on who you ask. According to Paul McCartney, the title was quite literal and referred to traveling to a town called Ryde on the Isle of Wight. John Lennon, however, the man who primarily wrote the song, had a different interpretation. Lennon supposedly told journalist Don Short that the term came from their days playing in Hamburg, Germany, where prostitutes there were given cards from the medical authorities, which stated that they had a clean bill of health. Thus, those were the tickets to ride. Maybe it's true, maybe Lennon was just messing with him, but the story has become part of rock and roll lore. 1. 9 Rumble. Link Wray, Rumble, November 19, 1974. The song Rumble by Link Wray was certainly innovative in its day. Released as a single in 1958, it used distortion and tremolo effects on the electric guitar, a sound that we are all familiar with nowadays, but was still new, groundbreaking, and even shocking for its time. The track had no lyrics. It was an instrumental that relied mainly on its heavy guitar riff to catch the ear of the listener. And it certainly did that, even though many people were unhappy with what they heard. Parents across America feared that the song was too angry and incited the country's youth to violence and delinquency. Several major markets in America, including Boston and New York, decided to ban the tune from the airwaves, thus making it the only instrumental song to receive this treatment. And what's more rock and roll than that? 2. 8 In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, 1968, original full version, CD sound 3D video. When Iron Butterly released In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida in 1968, it became one of the best-selling albums in history, thanks mainly to its title track, a bizarre and eclectic 17-minute composition. For this, we have the band's lead vocalist, Doug Ingle, and a gallon of Red Mountain wine to thank. Before Iron Butterly struck it big, the group was in dire straits. Their first album, Heavy, didn't exactly set the world on fire. Most of the members had left the band, leaving only Ingle and drummer Ron Bushy, who worked as a pizza delivery boy on the side to pay the bills. One night, Bushy came home from his job to find Ingle in a state nearing delirium. He had been up for 2 days straight and was drunk on a gallon of wine. And yet, when Bushy found him, Ingle was holding his box keyboard, trying to play this new tune he had in his head. The only problem was that he was so wasted that the drummer couldn't understand a word he was saying. So Bushy phonetically wrote down on a napkin the ramblings coming out of his roommate's mouth. In Ingle's mind, he was singing in the Garden of Eden, but it came out as a slurred In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. 3. 7 Louis, Louis the Kingsman, Louis Louis. Our next entry is a bit of a combination of the previous two. Louie, Louie by the Kingsmen was a big hit whose slurred, unintelligible lyrics stuck in the craw of the older generations. They became convinced that it was corrupting the youth of America and demanded an investigation from none other than the FBI. Originally, the song was written and released by Richard Berry in 1957, and everyone was fine with it. But it was the 1963 version by the Kingsmen that attracted a lot of negative attention because lead vocalist Jack Ely sang the lyrics in an unclear way that made them incredibly hard to discern. In reality, he did this because he had just performed a marathon gig the night before. His voice was a little hoarse, and he thought it was only a rehearsal, even though the studio ended up using that take. But people became convinced that the Kingsmen recorded the song in that unusual fashion in order to hide obscene lyrics in it. The FBI got involved because, if the rumor was true, the band would have been guilty of interstate transportation of obscene material. So they actually ran an investigation between February and May 1964 and concluded that there was no evidence of obscenity. Four, 6, Never Learn Not to Love, Never Learn Not to Love, remastered 2001, originally a B-side to the Beach Boys' 1968 single Bluebirds Over the Mountain. Never Learn Not to Love is unlikely to ever feature on one of the band's greatest hits compilations. However, it does have one unique claim to fame. It was originally written by a struggling artist by the name of Charles Manson. It all started when Dennis Wilson, the drummer of the Beach Boys, had a one-night stand with two women he met hitchhiking. As it happened, they were both part of Charles Manson's cult, so when word got back to Manson, he saw it as his opportunity to hit the big time. Manson and Wilson got pretty close over the following months, to the point where the former worked up the courage to show the latter a song he wrote titled Cease to Exist. Wilson thought it was pretty good, so he offered to buy it. Manson agreed, as long as the Beach Boys didn't make any changes to it, something that the band immediately ignored. As you might expect, the cult leader did not respond well to this betrayal. He walked up to Dennis Wilson, gave him a bullet, and told him to think how nice it was that his kids were still safe. At that point, Wilson threw Manson to the ground and started thrashing him, thus bringing an end to the Beach Boys' Charles Manson collaboration. Five, Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, Live. Smoke on the Water is the kind of song that doesn't really need an introduction. Thanks for watching. Credits to listverse.com. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.